Let's connect then with Ashish Chhawchharia. He's a resolutional professional at Jet Airways and Head of Restructuring Services at Thornton India. Ashish, a silver lining, if you will, because it's been 18 excruciating months since things went south for Jet Airways. While this is only baby steps, what is your outlook on what has really been the resolution plan, if you could update our viewers, and how much equity Kalrock and Jalan plan to infuse into the airline?
Hi, good morning. And, it's certainly very pleasing to be here today where we are after this, as you said, an excruciating, period since the airline was suspended, back in April. And I think, it's been a tireless effort, right, from the, my team. I think the lenders who have been extremely patient, led by State Bank of India, who had played a very anchor role in this whole process so far. And, the expectation is that now we can, revive the airline back into its, glory, where it was, prior to suspension. I think there are still a few more formalities to be carried out. There are, just a quick caveat because, the process is still on. I cannot share too many details, specifics about the plan, but I can only tell you that, the plan is to bring back the airline back to its glory and, Jet 2.0, as some of them are calling this. So, the company obviously has to, do a resolution or a settlement for the creditors, which were there, before the company shut down. And then, of course, new capital that needs to be introduced, for the revival of the company. So the business plan that has been submitted by this Jalan Kalrock consortium, they have provided for both these aspects, and the lenders in their commercial wisdom have now approved the plan. So after the few more formalities, I think we should be able to. I mean, the plan is to have this airline back in the skies soon.
And does this resolution plan include selling 6 old planes and buying new ones?
So, without getting into too much specifics, there are obviously the new airline, when it starts or when it restarts again with the Jet Airways brand, the idea would be to have more efficiency, right? So I think the lenders, the applicants would certainly be looking at modernizing their fleet. So there are some plans to bring in, better, more fuel-efficient aircrafts, and maybe trade them off with the older ones. But that's purely based on efficiencies that they want to bring in going forward.
Sure. Ashish, how much upfront payment to lenders? How much equity will be given as well? And which are the lenders which will receive the most equity?
Once again, I'm sorry, I cannot share very specific details about the plan, but I can tell you that the lenders have approved a plan whereby they intend to remain, interested in the company. So there are, they will remain interested both in terms of debt and equity. And that's truly how, a revival of a company should be looked at, because it's not a recovery mechanism. IBC, as Dr. Sahu has said several times, is not a recovery tool. It is a mode of, reviving the company. It is for creating, economic resources back. So, and, India needs another airline to as the way our aviation sector is growing. So the banks have, taken a call on how, they want to revive this company based on the, plan submitted by the Kalrock consortium.
So when do you see the deal closing and the bidders taking over the airline? As you said, right now, we're still waiting for the deal to close. It's a firm bid at the moment. So when do you see that happening?
So there are two very important steps, of course, we have reached a very important milestone over the weekend. The lenders have approved the plan by a substantial majority, and they have placed their trust on this consortium. But there are two important steps that need to happen before we can expect to see, Jet flying again. First is, of course, to get the NCLT approval as required in the IBC. They are they're going to look more at the process and the compliances that have been carried out. Are they meeting the requirements or not? That's the role of the NCLT. They'll adjudicate on the plan once it's submitted to them. And then, of course, one of the asks which is there in the revival plan is that the airline should be awarded back the slots which they were using prior to suspension. As you'll appreciate that, for any airline to operate, it's not just about the aircrafts and the people. Yes, these are important parts, but a very important aspect are the airport slots and the traffic rights, which Jet used to enjoy some premium slots, and those were temporarily, given to other airlines to make sure that the capacity, requirements in India are met. But one of the asks with the applicant has now is to actually, get some of those slots back so that they can operate as per their business plan. So this is where, I'm sure the government, and the ministry will look at this favorably, and, they will, award these slots back to Jet so that they can operate, on these slots. And that's where, the airline will find its most operations coming from.
Okay. Will the former employees be paid their dues or any equity stake that's being offered to the employees? Do you think that there is a strong likelihood that they could now be re-employed with things getting back on track?
So there are many questions in that. So yes, certainly, regarding the dues of the employees who have been, unpaid and they have been sitting patiently for so many months, there are certain provisions within the insolvency code which protect their interests, and the plan, offered and approved by the lenders now is also to ensure that there is those compliances or the minimum requirements as per the IBC are taken care of. So certainly there is going to be some sort of recovery of their past dues coming out of this as well. And going forward, I think the lenders, the resolution applicant has offered some novel ideas on how to engage with these employees, and these are quite encouraging. They have spoken about making an employee-owned sort of organization within this, which will be offering services to Jet Airways, and they would get a preference. So certainly there is an attention towards the employees which cannot be skipped. This is very important because, as you know, an airline is very much a service sector industry, and you need the people, you need the most experienced and trained personnel, be it pilots, be it cabin crew, engineers, all of them. So there are plans how, as they ramp up the business, they will engage with the people. But it's obviously one cannot expect that from day one all the people that were existing. When I started here, there were more than 12,000 people last year who were still on the rolls of the company, and I believe at its peak it had over 20,000 people. So it's not expected, because they will be obviously ramping up their operations gradually, and who will not look for the experienced and trained personnel. So I'm sure the existing personnel of Jet will surely get some preference there.
All right. Thanks very much for taking time out, Ashish, and just giving us a clearer picture as to how things are shaping up there for Jet Airways.
Just one last question, Avan. I'm just gonna butt in and ask Ashish one last question. Ashish, on the operational creditors who have existing contracts, do they remain valid?
So there's nothing in the insolvency code which talks about termination of contracts. So the contracts, remain. I think it's something which, legally needs to be vetted. They will obviously start with a new slate, and depending on the size and scale of operations, those would be negotiated by the new owners of Jet. For example, if you have, let's say, a catering supplier. Now, a catering supplier was earlier supplying for over 120 aircrafts or aircraft that they own, and over 600 departures, which Jet had every day. Now, that may not be today important right from day one, right? So there will be some sort of changes. But I think, again, like I said, the people who have worked with Jet, be it vendors, be it suppliers, employees, I'm sure the new owners would look to engage with them going forward again.
All right, we're going to leave it there. Thanks so much for that chat and taking the time out this morning.
My pleasure.